So the next talk is also a discussion or a presentation about a tool that deploys a MediaWiki application onto a target machine from scratch. So just real quickly, I want to turn this talk, so this talk was originally designed to be a 30-minute talk. Then I found out it had a 15-minute slot. And with the way that we're running over in time, and because Greg Rundlet is going to talk to you after this and do a deep dive into what MEZA is, I've decided that I'm going to turn this talk into a 5-minute introduction to Greg Rundlet's, his substantive talk on what MEZA is. So I'm just going to introduce. So just real quickly, if you're not familiar with me, I'm representing NASA, but not NASA, the entire agency. This is a map of the United States. It shows, the dots show the different places where we have campuses that you could visit, NASA centers. And you can see in the Ohio region, there's 2 dots there, and the one on the left is in Sandusky, Ohio. It represents the Neil Armstrong Test Facility. That's where I come from. So everything that I say today is from within that particular dot on the map. NASA is about 17,000 civil servant employees. We've got about 50,000 some support service contractors supporting our missions. We've got, as I showed on the map, about 10 field centers, 7 support facilities, 1 crewed location in low Earth orbit, and we're working on a cislunar work site as I speak. Our campus, this is an aerial shot from Sandusky, Ohio. We've got a roughly a 10-square-mile campus that contains half a dozen world-class facilities that do space environment testing on the ground. We bring spacecraft and satellites into our facilities, run them through their paces, find out how they behave in extreme space environments in a controlled setting before they go to the launch pad and fly. So the Artemis launch system on the left and the SpaceX Falcon 9, these are examples. We don't do the large launch system rockets, we do the payloads at the top. So most of the stuff that comes into our facilities is what we call upper stage or actual space environment, whereas the launch system typically tends to be an aero vehicle. For the purposes of the talk, all we're trying to say is that we're trying to use MediaWiki within this operational facility to manage our knowledge and to convert a lot of our traditional paper processes into an electronic process. And that's what MEZA solves. So if you've seen one of my talks, you know that you're going to get this chart, core MediaWiki from the foundation, plus the ecosystem of extensions that are available from all of you guys, combined allows MediaWiki to be more than wiki software. It's a platform for sort of a do-it-yourself solutions platform for anything that you need software to do for you. So when I was putting this talk together, I was digging into some old charts. And my use of MediaWiki at Armstrong facility goes back almost 10 years. And when I was originally trying to pitch the idea of this, I was talking to an audience that really didn't understand what wikis were, didn't understand what the value was. And so there was a lot of this conversation where, the different people thought that it was different, that it provided a different solution depending on what their point of use was. So I just thought this was a really great chart as I was going through my old charts. I wanted to show this because yesterday Ike gave a talk about the future of MediaWiki, and one of the things he said is that you can't sell a product that can do anything. And I thought it was so funny that when I found this chart from about 10 years ago, where the salespeople are selling a product that can do anything, and then after it's sold and it shows up in the crate, right, they uncrate it, you get the elephant, which is the wiki that nobody really understands what it is. So what can you do? Well, I can do anything. What do you want? The point is we need to know what our knowledge management goals are. So you can't just, put the wiki into the organization and expect it to just immediately improve everything. If you don't have knowledge management goals, it's not going to work. In the interests of time, I'm going to skip through some of these charts. I was going to go down this list and talk about what the business need is You know, in our environment, in the federal government, IT systems are under a lot more stress. There's a lot more demands being placed on us. It's becoming harder and harder to run small applications. Enterprise solutions, and so to run a MediaWiki server in this environment is becoming increasingly difficult. That's a lead into MEZA. In Cindy's talk, she mentioned that Canasta is, I think, 4 years old now, 2022. So MEZA was invented back in 2018. So interestingly, I went on to MediaWiki.org on the MEZA page, and I looked at the history, and I went all the way back to the original edit for the MEZA page on MediaWiki.org, and it was actually March 25th, yesterday, 8 years ago. So MEZA just celebrated its 8th birthday.
And the Wiki's birthday, too.
And the Wiki's birthday, too, yeah. Another day, I'll come back and give a more detailed talk on these things. Where I'd like to leave you is sort of our tech stack. And so you've heard it said, many of you know firsthand, that a MediaWiki server application is a complicated object with lots of components that have to be installed individually, configured to work together in order to get the ultimate result. At the bottom, we have the bare metal, the hardware. Often that's been virtualized into some kind of a data center or into the cloud. But on top of that, you have your operating system, web server, scripting engine, database service, search functions. In more and more in the world, we need authentication and authorization layers. Once you have that, you can build your web application on top. It has a browser interface with the rest of the world. And then this becomes content that we create where we have query data, classify our data with categories and categorize our pages, standardized output with templates, standardized inputs with forms. You put all that together, and you can produce online tools that your users can do to implement electronic workflows. That's our knowledge management strategy. I'll skip through these. We basically have a 1, 2, 3 strategy. Step 1, identify, implement, and maintain a stable Web 3.0 platform capable of achieving the mission and the vision. Step 2 is to go through all of our organizational processes and wikify them. And step 3 is to just train all of our staff to do so. You have a question?
You said Web 3.0. Does that mean you're using crypto?
Well, actually, I think the I3C, or they redefined what Web 3.0 means. If you go back to 10 years ago, Web 3.0 was the definition was the semantic web. And I think they've redefined Web 3.0. So that's an outdated reference. So this is how our architecture maps with our mission, vision, strategy. So step 1 is to get the tech stack implemented. So what does MEZA do? In a nutshell, this is sort of a representation of all the different moving parts that you have in a standard MediaWiki application. And so what we want to be able to do as an organization is focus on templates, categories, and forms. In order to do that, we have to have a fully functional, highly supercharged MediaWiki application. It has to meet all of the NASA security requirements. And so on the right-hand side here of the pyramid, you can see the MEZA project. And so MEZA does not use containers, although we hope that it will in the future. But what we can say is that you can be given a blank, empty Red Hat Linux operating system, and you can type the command sudo MEZA deploy monolith on this completely empty machine, and MEZA will build the whole application to the top for you. And you sit back, you have a nice warm beverage while you watch it all happen, and when you're done, you can immediately start grabbing pages from, like the tooling pages that we talked about, templates and forms and properties, pull them in, and you're off to the races with electronic workflows within your organization. This is just a screenshot of the MEZA page on MediaWiki.org. If you want to check it out, I encourage you to. There's some detail on why MEZA works for us, some of its features. There's more information down below if you'd like to learn more. And we recently updated our logo not too long ago. Pretty pleased with that. And we do this for the benefit of all. Thank you. 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so we need to switch over to
Yeah.
Jim.
Okay, and so any questions you might have for me, I'm going to defer you to ask them to Greg at the end of his talk. Thank you very much.